So I'm going to be talking about presence over gifts in relationships, right? And so this couple gets married, and the man, because somebody once said, you can love a woman and money is not involved. You can be talking to a woman about love. The only language she understands, actually, they've spoken about Five Love Language by Gary Chapman. I don't know if you read the book, but he talks about the five love languages, and somebody said this doesn't make sense, and the person was like, the only love language a woman understands is money. Those are phrases that I often hear at times, but this couple gets married, right? And the man showers the ladies always with gifts and gifts and gifts, and she felt so loved. They got married, and he told her not to work, and he gave her three properties to manage. He put those properties under her name, and he told her, just give birth to my children, take care of the house, and you don't need to work, because she was teaching, right? And what she received from those three properties at the end of every month cannot be compared to the salary of a teacher, a primary school teacher. So she was happy in the beginning. She felt love because she had gifts and everything, until this man would start leaving her in the house 3 months, 4 months, and before coming back home. And when he's coming back home, he's always coming back with lots of gifts, lots of presents, and she became tired. She wanted him to spend more time with her. But the issue didn't start when they were already married. The issue started way long before, because he had always he literally never had time for her. All he knew was, I've gotten to the stage where I've made it in life. I just need to put the woman home. So, and I need to have seed. I need to have my own children, right? He wasn't thinking of about the woman. He was thinking about himself. And for him, he worked with that knowledge, or with that saying that if a woman has money, what else is she looking for? And another, many women have made that mistake to enter marriages with the mindset of, if the money is there. Some people go as far as saying crying inside wealth is better than crying in poverty. But the truth is, it doesn't stop there. A life doesn't end with the conquest between riches and poverty. In as much as I hate poverty, right? Everybody, I don't think there's somebody that loves poverty, right? I don't think so, except I don't know how to put it. Except the person, I don't know what reason would make somebody love poverty, but that's not my point of topic today. My point is presence over gifts. Like, I don't believe necessarily in couples always holding hand, walking hand by hand, that kind of relationship where they never leave each other and they're always there for one another, and they don't work. Because people also who are very much present at times don't have what to do, right? Because the Bible is clear, even God came to visit Adam. Adam was working, and the Bible says that God will come and visit him in the cool of the day, like when he's relaxing and stuff like that. He worked. So God expects us to work. Actually, in the Bible, we see that everybody needs to work, right? There is a satisfaction that we receive from working, right? I remember a time when I had this issue at the office, and my boss was like, for this month, don't come to the office until I solve the issue. I'm trying to see what's happening, because there was a leakage. There was some financial issues, and he needed to understand what was happening, and he told me to stay home for 1 month, and he said, I'm going to pay you. And he paid me, but I felt so, I was like, what did I receive the pay for? I was like, no, 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 this is not how it's supposed to be. I felt so uncomfortable. I didn't understand how would I be paid for not working? It didn't make sense. And so just to say that there's satisfaction that comes with working, right? I know that people who are like, I don't care, I go take my money, I just do whatever. But for some people, it feels like working gives them some sense of satisfaction, right? Like, at least you're doing something, you can justify where your finance is coming from, and stuff like that. It's not necessarily for justification's sake, but there is a satisfaction that comes with it. And so, presence over gifts. There are many people who never take time to just sit down and analyze and discuss the fact that, okay, every month we must spend time together as a family. every week we must spend time together as a family, depending on the frequency and the availability of the person. What matters to me most is that the person says, I'm going to be there, and during the times that you agree to be there, the person puts every other thing aside and chooses to be there for their family, because family comes first before every financial pursuit, I believe. So family comes first, right? Family comes first. And so for me, quality time matters a lot, because there are people who are there all the time, and their presence is equal to their absence. Like I heard this when I was in school, actually, when some teachers will come and they would teach and people will not understand what they taught. And so many students were like, this teacher, your presence is equal to your absence, because whether you come, whether you didn't come, there was nothing that was added to our lives. There was nothing specific, there was nothing. And so gifts and well, there's a way material things can crowd a person's mind during the dating phase, that they don't get to know the person well, because now we're talking about presence, right? But aside presence, there are many other things that she could have passed by and then enter the marriage before discovering those things. And there are many people today married, and they have no reason, nothing to do with dating, talk less of married, being married, right? Because even dating phase, even to start dating, there's a period and there's a time to start dating, right? Because the Bible says there is a time for everything under the sun. And if we're following God's order of doing things and doing it now, the culture, society has its own date limits and times that they have put in place, and they have given age limits where if you pass as a lady, as a man, you're not married, something is wrong with you, this and that. But here we're talking about God, because when God speaks and he gives his view and his opinion about something, it's final, right? That's the final stake. It doesn't matter how much you argue. It doesn't matter what you're thinking at a given moment in your life. Eventually, you're going to come to agreement with what God has from the very onset. So it's funny that people go on a date and they have no clear questions that they intend to ask their partner, to know, to have a better knowing about them. And like I said, there is a difference between having knowledge about somebody and there is a knowing. The Bible speaks about knowing. There's a difference between having knowledge and knowing. There is that comes by the Spirit of God, right? As you walk with God and you stay in that space with God where you're transformed and where you're synchronizing your thoughts with God's thoughts and his ways with your ways, there is just something that happens usually. I remember my brother were discussing that he was like, he knows God has given him, empowered him, and given him knowledge, and he was like, before asking a series of questions to get to know a lady, there are just few things that would tell me that this woman is not for me, and I wouldn't even be thinking of dating her, talk less of marriage. He spoke of her friends who surrounds her, the kind of things she watches, the kind of things she listens to, that she fits her mind with, because that's going to the things that she spends her time listening to is exactly who she is, the way she talks, right? That's what he said, the way she talks, he automatically knows who she is. And so he doesn't really need to go through a series of questions and stuff like that to actually know. But like I said, many people never really sit down to it all starts with defining your life and what you want for your life first. Because if you don't define your life, another person will define it, and then you will be angry and saying they didn't take into consideration this and that. Where the problem started with you not even defining what you wanted in the very first place, and knowing what you want your life to look like, right? And what it takes to have that life that you want. So that's it. And so, if this message blessed somebody, like I always say, hit the subscribe button, follow, like, share, comment, and don't forget, I'm going to put a link in the comment section, and this link is about, or in the bio, this link is about rebuilding your love life. It directs you straight to our blog, which talks about rebuilding your love life. You're going to see a lot of articles, a lot of love that we post there weekly. You can come there to read every week, and you will be so blessed. You will discover new things day in, day out. You're going to see resources and materials that will empower you in ways that will blow your mind. You're going to work with confidence, and you will not be cheated in the dating market. I call it the dating market, right? Because you're either cheated, you either settle for what you're not supposed to settle for, or you either make choice. If you're not well informed, you can't make the best choice, and if you're not well equipped, you can't stand the battle for which you're going for. Because I'm not saying marriage is a battle, right? I'm just saying that there is a journey, and you need to be equipped for that journey. If you're not equipped for that journey, you will lose yourself in that journey, because it's a journey where many start and are destroyed. Many go into it and lose themselves. That wasn't the original design of the creator when he put the institution of marriage in place. So, 5 workbooks. You go through it, you're never going to regret. And one of our best master selling workbooks or books is called Financial Protocol for Couples. Love without money? Well, your life shouldn't be about money, because the Jesus say the life of a man doesn't consist in abundance of things, but you need money in this life, and you need it in abundance if you're going to live the life, that kind of life that God has called you to live. You need it, and you need it in abundance. And so, ciao, ciao. See you next time, and bye.